I want to begin by saying that God is a master planner. And the good part of the whole scenario is that you are in the master plan of God. You are in the plan of God. God had you in mind when he was setting out his master plan. God had you in mind when he was preparing his master plan. If you ever wanted to revive an old film, to restore an old damaged film, there are plans, there are procedures, there are sequences that you follow to be able to revive that damaged old film. If the paint of your car, Minister Love, your car, your Mercedes car, your white Mercedes car, you like white. If the paint of your car is damaged and fading away, and you take that car to the finishers, they call them the car finishers, there are procedures that they take. They don't just, you cannot take your car to a finisher's shop or paint technician and get that car the same day. It's not possible. If you were to spray, if you were planning to spray a paint on a dented panel of the car, it is a different thing. But if you have to repaint the car, if you have to revive the paint of your car, there are procedures that the paint technician would take. When it comes to restoration, God has plans and sequences. There are plans and then sequences. That you have a plan is not enough. Do you know the sequence to orchestrate that plan? It is not enough that you have a master plan. As a matter of fact, the people who act movies, they call it script. That is their own plan. They play script. In IT word, it is called a baseline. Once a baseline has been signed off, the project can be initiated. The software developers, they start to develop. In government and business world, they call it blueprint. In construction and building, it is called a building plan. In music, it is called a demo. So, this is the plan. In the system of God, it is called purpose or plan. So, in the same way that the music producer will have a demo before he starts the main thing, the building contractor will have a building plan before he starts the project. The IT guy will have a baseline. The actor and the actress will have a script. God, in his way, in his dealings, also has master plans. Guess what? God's plans for every one of us here is different. The master plan that God has for you is different from the master plan that he has for me. This is why you should never ever compare your destiny with another man's destiny. So God has a master plan. And God is a master planner. I am a lover of nature. And this morning when I was thinking about the creative abilities of God and the way God plans his things and the way God works out things, I begin to look at the planets, the Uranus. How many of you know we have about 9 planets, not just this earth? So God has a plan, master plan for restoration of anything. And I'm going to show you the way God restores anything. He has a master plan. When God wants to restore a man, there is a master plan and there is a sequence. So I began to look at the way God planned out this earth. To a point when I was thinking about these things, I started to shed tears. I was in awe of the amazingness of God. I was in awe of the creative ability of God, the wisdom, the depth of God's wisdom, I was shedding tears. Did you know that there are no oxygen in Jupiter? There are no oxygen in Mars. There are no oxygen. There is no oxygen in where? In Saturn, in Uranus, in all of those planets. The only place there is oxygen, gaseous oxygen, is the earth. And that is where humans live. It is not nature. People say some people who do not believe that God created the world and they call it, what do they call it? Evolution. Who gave evolution this wisdom? Who is evolution? Where did evolution got its wisdom? Anything this generation will do to eradicate the concept of the wisdom of God, they will do it. So instead of them calling God, God, or giving credit to God, they would rather call it the universe. Instead of them believing in prayer, they would rather believe in yoga. So we believe there is a super being up there. Yes, we believe, but we refuse to call it God. That is the spirit of rebellion. So I heard somebody the other day, I sneezed, and he said, bless you. A white guy who probably is an atheist. And I said, oh, thank you. Who is going to give the blessing? And he never thought about it. I said, I sneezed. You know, like when you sneeze and he said, oh, bless you. I said, oh, thank you. I said, excuse me, who's going to give me the blessing? And he said, He couldn't answer the question. You can deny. You can refuse to recognize, but you cannot deny. They can refuse to recognize, but you can never deny the wisdom of God. The earth where man lives, God in his plan put oxygen there because he knew that is where man. Why do you think the hair inside of your nose, it is called what's the name again? Help me, Lord. It is called something seal. I can't remember the word. Let me see if I wrote it down. The hair that is in your nose, inside of your nose, it is called cilia. Not Cecilia, but cilia. Scilia. The hair that is in, everybody has a few hair inside of your nose medically called cilia. Cilia. Do you know why God put that hair there? To filter your nose. I wrote it down. It says the cilia help to filter the air you breathe in, blocking dirt and dust from getting into your lungs. The master planner, when he was planning it, he knew that we were going to live in a planet called Earth, and the possibility and the tendency of dust and air going through your nose and blocking your lungs is high, and he put a filter. Only a fool have said there is no God. Why do you have the eyelids? These eyelids. Why do you not have eyelids at the back of your head? Why is it not on your chest? Why is it not on top of your nose? The eyelids are filters to protect your eyes. Inside your ear, there is what they call ear wax. It is another filter. It is nature's defense to protect your ear from bugs, from sand, from dirt. Who put it there? The master planner. Ooh! The master planner. I'm telling you that God has a plan for your restoration. God does not promise and do. God does it and then he promises. Whenever I think about conception and pregnancy, I am in awe. From the beginning of how the sperm from a man will have to travel to locate the egg of the woman it is something I have always been in awe. Who speaks to who gives the sperm direction? Who directs? Who tells the sperm? Who made the sperm intelligent? The master planner. When the baby is in the womb, God, the master planner, wraps that baby in what they call amniotic sac. The reason God, the master planner, wraps the baby in an amniotic sac is a fluid-filled sac that surrounds the fetus during pregnancy. This helps to protect the fetus. The baby is called a fetus when the baby is still in that stage of in the womb. It says the amniotic sac helps to protect the baby from injury and helps to regulate temperature so they can stay warm. Who thought about this? The master planner. Oh, Jesus Christ. The master planner. He knew that if the little innocent baby in the womb is exposed to a high temperature, that baby could die. The master planner created a sack, put water in it. Did you know that whenever the baby leaves the womb is when the breast milk starts running, not at the end of the pregnancy cycle? You should expect that at the end, the breast milk must only run at the 40th week, which is the end of the completion of pregnancy cycle. But it doesn't happen like that. The master planner speaks to the breast and says to them, if this baby leaves earlier before the 40th week, you need to start running because the baby must have food to eat. The master planner, because God, the master planner, knew that some women will not make it to the 40th week. Some will give birth at 37th week. Some will give birth even at 36 plus, like in the case of Ryan. Some will even give birth at 35th week. So the master planner made it in a way that the moment the baby leaves that place, the whole organs of the body start communicating to each other. The baby has left. Don't forget what the master planner told us. You must now begin to move, to run. The master planner. When you go to the beach, that is what is called the wind wave. The energy of the wind wave sometimes can be very terrifying. You see the wind blowing, coming to the direction. When it gets to the bank of the river, it goes back. Who speaks to the sea where to stop? Who speaks to the sea where to stop? The master planner. Who tells the moon it is time to come out? The moon does not need a manual handling. Nobody switches it on. But through the intelligence of the master planner, the moon knows, the sun knows. Nobody struggles with each other. When it is time for the moon to go in, the moon goes in. The sun knows it's time for me to step in. God has a plan. He has put everything in place. Radikatiada, Ropura Patiata, Berika Indarata, Syria diada, Okrubi in the Hiata, Zikru in the Hala ete Boredia, Zu Evean diatate tete, Zito Pekete. The master planner. I say, God has a plan for your restoration. Blessing. God has a plan for your restoration. God has a plan for everyone watching me. God has a plan for your restoration. He is the master planner. The reason is because we don't understand his ways. So sometimes we think that God has forgotten us. We are a forgotten matter. God has a plan. The master planner. Who tells the winter it is time to stop so that the summer can show up? The master planner. The master planner. The master planner.